All right, we're here at Big Ten Media Days. Greg Pickel and Bob Flounders. It is Friday. Penn State's contingent has just wrapped it up. James Franklin, Anthony Zettel, Angelo Mangiero, and Jordan Lucas. A couple of takeaways, I think, from their day. And first of all, we have to start, obviously. Where else are you going to start? But with Anthony Zettel. A couple of numbers jumped out to me today, Greg. One is number 2, because Zettel recorded his second hole-in-one right on the golf course right before he came out here. It just shows you what kind of an athlete he is. But the other number that you told me about, and you could speak to it, that is even more astounding to me, I still can't believe it, is the number 17.
Yeah, so Anthony Zettel is a guy that clearly
Big
would
eater.
Never notice this.
Big eater.
Notice this from watching
Apparently.
him, but he likes to eat, and 17 nights in a row he claims last year he ate wings for dinner. So this is a guy that said he focused on a diet this offseason. He said he never really truly bought into, taking care of his body in different ways, but he has this offseason. He's at 284 right now. He's feeling better. He said he's cut out fats and junk food, at least some, from his diet, and he's eating a lot more protein and healthier food. So watch out. A healthier Anthony Zettel. How could it be better than last year? I don't know, but it could be.
I don't care if he's in his athletic prime. If I was his intestines, I would hate him. I mean, he's a medical marvel to me.
Yes.
17 straight days of wings, and he didn't eat like 6. So I don't know. It's like the legend grows.
Yes,
really,
it really does.
Every day you find out more and more about that kid. Anyway, we're going to move along. Also, on a little bit of a more serious note, you unearthed a little news about Penn State backup quarterback Trace McSorley, who did not play in the blue-white game.
Right.
And there were some whispers about if he was okay, and it turns out that actually he was kind of dealing with something.
Yeah, so he had a close friend, James Franklin said here on Friday, that had meningitis at the end of spring practice. So he practiced in the beginning of the spring. He did not practice the last week of spring because he was being tested for meningitis in case he had come down with it as well. Everything worked out okay. James Franklin said if they would play this Saturday, he would be the backup quarterback to Christian Hackenberg. But yeah, it was certainly probably a couple scary weeks for him for sure.
Sure. A couple of quick things to pass on. James Franklin addressed Penn State's hiring of Jim Haslett to be a consultant for the team this year. Haslett, a former DC and head coach in the NFL. James thinks it's going to be a great sounding board, not only for the offensive coaches, defensive coaches, but also the special teams coaches. So that'll be, I think it's going to work out really well for Penn State. One tease for you: we talked to some Penn State players about their picks for the most underrated players and some other things. And one that surprised me, Greg, was Jordan Lucas mentioned Tayro Barney as the most underrated player on Penn State, and also said you would not believe how fast he is. Lastly, one thing, Greg, Franklin made a point to talk about the improved 2 deep with more scholarship players and more experienced scholarship players, and how that's going to have like a ripple in the pond effect on practices this year. And I kind of agree with him. I think the 2 deep, the offensive line can handle some things a little bit better, and it's going to make positions across the board better.
Yeah, I mean, when we heard Anthony Zettel said it best. He felt like there were times where he couldn't get as well prepared as he possibly could before a game because Penn State just didn't have the caliber of player in its 2 deep and its scout team and its second team to be able to test those guys. I mean, when you think of the defensive line Penn State had, to be tough to really put together a second team that could completely stop them to begin with, considering some opponents' first teams couldn't do it. But with what Penn State had, it just wasn't up to the task. That will very much help both sides of the line this fall.
Yeah, and I'm still shaking my head about the wing eating, Zettel's wing eating, as we close it out here from Big Ten Media Days. Greg Pickel, Bob Flounders. Penn State's practice sessions start next week.